Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back. Today we're getting into another Aroma Fusion protocol, and today we're bringing in one of my favorite. I don't know. I can't really call any of them my favorite, but I absolutely love this oil from the first time I connected with it to just this last time a few minutes ago when I finished up a session with a client. There's something so special about the way that this oil comes to you. It's almost a surprise every time I smell it. And I'll often place it on a client's foot and it'll continue to linger throughout the session. And this oil is known as blue tansy. And I surprisingly actually have some wild tansy that I found on my property up in Idaho last summer. It's a little bit worse for wear after an entire season of drying out, but these flowers are just absolutely incredible. I had never seen one in the wild before last summer, and so I brought a bunch of these home and dried them, and they're probably at the end of their shelf life, but I just love they're part of the daisy family, but they would look like a daisy but without the leaves, or the petals, I should say. So it's basically like the inside of the daisy. And there's just something really playful about a daisy. There's something of a childlike wonder. I feel like there's this deep connection with daisies from our childhood. And that's actually what blue tansy brings into the realms of aroma fusion, is it brings in this playful nature, and it allows us to begin to calm the things that sort of contrast playfulness. And specifically, I love to bring blue tansy in for the element of anger. And what do we do with anger in this culture? We are just in this time and space coming out of a very heated election period. We have just gone through a really intense wildfire season here in Southern California. We're coming into the holidays, which may mean challenges and emotions of anger around family and financials and any of these elements that really kind of bring this sense of fire within us. And what have we been taught to do with anger? Anger is not a bad emotion. It's just a misplaced emotion. And so I find that when anger comes into the space, and I welcome it when it does, because that means there's a client that has fire and fortitude within them. There's charge within them. Whether it's an angry situation they have going on at work, or they're fired up about the world and everything going on in it. There is something of incredible potential there. And to me, whenever we can begin to harness the power of anger and begin to use it, and I want to first say that there's a difference between what's the right word for it? It's not abandoning, but basically bypassing anger. This isn't about sweeping it under the rugs and just making it butterflies and sunshine. It's about harnessing the energy. I was talking to a friend last week after the election, and there was a lot of emotions coming through. And I shared with her the thought of, well, what if all the anger that you're feeling is actually the fuel for your fire of your next passionate unfolding? And that really landed with her. And it may not be something that can land with everybody at this point, depending on when you're watching that. But start to think about anger in this way. When you feel anger consuming you, whether it's rage at somebody who cut you off on the street, or a long time conflict that you've been going through, how can you allow that to be actually the fire within you? And so there is something to be talked about when we think about the heat and the flames of the body. I just spoke about the wildfire that we had here in Southern California. There can be this raging anger and this raging fire that burns within us, and just like a wildfire that gets out of hand, it will consume. However, from the yogic practice and the philosophy that I've studied the most in this lifetime, there is this necessity of Agni, or fire, that we need to have within us in order to experience the fullness of life, to have the inspiration of creation in front of us. There's a lot of stories within the yogic lineage that come through this idea of fire consuming, but also this everyday burning that happens within us, this churning and burning. We think about our digestion, it actually needs fire to heat and to create, right? But when we think about the digestion, if it's burning too hot, everything goes through too fast. If it's burning too slow, then that's when we need to stoke the fire. So I wanted to bring blue tansy in today specifically to help with the raging wildfires that some of us may have in us. And I don't want to make light of the very real situation that's just gone on. I'm just more using the analogy of the wildfire because this is how I always talk about this. And so I want to bring this into a technique that we can use. And so I look at our culture as a whole, and we really don't have a lot of positive things that we do with anger. It either gets buried away and swept under the rug, or comes out in these really combustible forms. And either way, there's this, again, this beauty of how we can harness it. So I want to look at anger today when we get to that sort of raging space of like, we don't know what to do with it and it's just coming out of our ears, like the cartoon characters, right? And anger itself is related to our liver. So this is my right side of my body. I don't know how the mirroring is working here, but our liver is here in our rib cage. And if we think about the liver as an organ, it does over 500 jobs for us every single day. And so it's constantly overtaxed, or, it's helping our hormones, it's detoxing, it's creating, and all of these pathologies within our body flow through the liver as an organ. And so then when we think about when we bring inflammation and heat and volatile sort of energy into the organ, now it's like it's raging like this wildfire within us. And so it is what I see so often in clients is this cooling of the liver that needs to happen, not the turning it off, not the turning it down, but finding this healthy way of cooling. We have a lot of substance abuse in our culture, and I often look at that as a reframe of like, well, individuals are coping and they're using substances often to try to nurture the liver in a way that they don't even realize that they're doing. And so I love blue tansy, for somebody who's trying to detox, maybe coming down from sugar or even taking a break from alcohol or going through sobriety altogether. Blue tansy is a really powerful aid to begin to help to cool the emotions so that we can actually work with them, not to tamper them, not to push them under the rug, but to actually harness what's there. Because again, we can have a candle flame and that can be perfect heat. If that candle goes out, then we're kind of in our own mess and kind of feeling unenergetic. But then we can also have those raging wildfires. So this candle flame and this idea of this controllable heat is what we want. And so we're going to come into a liver protocol today to kind of help some of you that may be going into the holidays, that may be coming off of some of this election, or any of the unique things that are going on in your everyday world. You can always turn to blue tansy when that heat becomes too much in the body. So this is a blue oil, and so I always tell my clients, you may get off the table and realize that you have some Smurf kisses on your feet. That's often where I use blue tansy, which is what we're about to do. So do be mindful. I wore appropriate clothes wearing cream and white today, so we'll be very mindful with this blue oil. But go ahead and if you're doing this alongside of me, we're going to access the liver meridian. And let me see, what's the best way to show you this actual point? Well, it's going to be between the big toes. So let me show you this with my hand instead. So if this is our big toe and our second toe, we're going to do the liver meridian, which runs between those two channels. And so we're going to come up between liver 2 and 3 and just find the place that our fingertip wants to settle into. And it's going to be right before you get to the actual bone of the foot. I want to find a way to show you this in reality. Let's see if I can balance in a skirt. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're right about here. This is my yogic skills right here. And right about here is where I want us to land. I'm going to say that's liver 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our oil. I like to do these at the same time. So find yourself in a situation where you'll just take one drop of blue tansy. Blue tansy can come out really fast. And again, because it's blue, just being mindful that we're not on a white sofa wearing a white dress. And I think mine's at the bottom of the barrel. So let's just have some patience while it comes out. There we go. And I just want to show you the beauty of this. And then if you're with me with this protocol today, I want you to smell this. So go ahead and touch your fingers together so it doesn't drip. So what I started to say that I don't think I finished saying is that blue tansy is really about this playful spirit. So what better way to kind of move through anger than to bring this sense of play and this sort of ethereal dance into our everyday. So let's go ahead. We're going to bring those 2 dotted fingers onto that liver 3. And again, we always just use trust. If you're new to this, I did do a how to begin protocol video that you can go back and watch. But go ahead and just find a little bit of trust with where your finger wants to land. And even though I guided us to liver 3 today, liver 2 is very close. You may find yourself sinking into that. So just bring all of your awareness down to the point where your finger touches the oil touches the point. Find your body in a relaxed place. Just notice what you notice. Maybe you notice the waft of the smell of blue tansy. I often find that it's one of the oils, like I shared, that sort of finds me long after I've placed it on my skin. It'll continue to sort of rise up and to remind me to take the playful path, to allow the emotions to be the fuel for play, for curiosity, for exploration. Just taking a few more moments here to experience, to find that balance with the liver, with the emotions. And then when you feel the readiness, just bringing the palms together, giving them a little rub, bringing blue tansy one more time to the nose. I smelt a little bit of this wildness that I've never smelt with it before. It took me back to those days of roaming and playing on the land and out in the wild. A little bit of like that drop back into that playful childhood. So I'm always curious the ways, and I've been working with these oils for years. And so to get to have a new experience again and again with these oils and a new place that these protocols and techniques take me is always magical. So it's fun to get to share that. But if you have an experience or you've had an experience with me here in a session, I would love to hear down in the comments if you want to share. And of course, if you enjoy getting notifications when these new videos come out, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and share it with somebody that might need a little bit of opportunity to find some cooling and to find some release from the anger that they may be holding on to. And in the meantime, stay curious, my friends. We'll see you next time.